they're not journalists. They're not. They
Nope.
are people who playing dress up as journalists.
I'm a bird, mother. I'm a bird.
Taco said Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2 smear fails miserably. The fact that Kotaku thinks they can take on Warhammer fans is just the funniest shit, the funniest joke, the funniest stand-up comedy this year.
So this is an update to a story that's been developing the last day or two. Saber CEO Matthew Karch posted a comment on Osmongold's video just the other day, and it's caused quite a stir in the gaming community because it's refreshing to hear a CEO of a company literally come out and say no DEI and calling out all the bullshit that's infecting the gaming industry. Smash JT made a late article and video today actually.
So take it with a grain of salt, because Warhammer will have female custodians. If you follow Warhammer, you understand that it's just nonsense.
Talking about it. I wanted to give my thoughts. So if you want to go to his website, I'm going to refer to this article quite a bit. But Kotaku evidently is not too happy. In fact, one of their, I guess, woke activist journalists by the name of Ethan Gatch is trying to, I guess, dismiss the comment from Matthew Karch and saying that it's a fake account that left this comment. I see his point, but at the same time, I see what he's trying to do. Let's be honest. There's no such thing as journalistic integrity with these wokies at Kotaku. They're not.
Because they're not journalists. They're not. They
Nope.
are people who playing dress up as journalists.
Not doing their due diligence, right? A normal journalist, I would give them the benefit of a doubt to be trying to clarify whether a random YouTube account that was recently made is actually the CEO of Saber. But let's be honest here. The reason why they're going after this comment is because it's not in their narrative. It's not following the woke agenda. So this comment was great. They commented to Osmongold, and you can see on the bottom, this viral comment, we'll scroll up just a little bit so you guys can see it, has caused quite a stir in the gaming community to the point where journalists are upset. They said, "Hey man, CEO of Saber here. I love your videos. When we signed the deal to make Space Marine 2, all I wanted was a throwback game." So that means a game that doesn't have woke agenda bullshit in it. "We had the chance to work on something which by its nature was old school. I can't even comprehend many of the current games that we play these days. They are too complex and too much of an investment. We worked on Halo back in the day, and that game could be distilled down to the simplest of shooting loops, but it was entirely addicting. That is what we wanted to recapture. I hope that gamers like Space Marine 2 and Wukong are the start of a reversion to a time when gamers were simply..."
I will underline the fact that there's nothing wrong with complex games. So, whatever you like, complex games, just sit back and shoot. All of them are base games.
Yep.
The problem is that with a lot of these DI-infested games, it's their narration first, their agenda, and their own beliefs over the actual game development.
Games were about, I'm sorry, it's a little blurry. Games were simply about fun and immersion. I spent time as chief operating officer at Embracer, and I saw games there that made me want to cry with their overblown attempts at messaging or imposing morals on gamers. We just want to do some glory kills and get the heart rate up a little. For me, that is what games should be about. So refreshing this day and age to hear a CEO not pander to this modern audience, right? This modern audience, where you at? That does not show up. They don't turn out to support anything. That's why Concord failed. That's why Dustborns failed. That's why everything that is catered to the woke modern audience plummets. It just absolutely fails. And stuff like Space Marine 2 do great. They do fantastic. Now, of course, like,
one of the reasons why Space Marines 2 is doing so great, because you can play as a massive dude that just goes around and fucking smacks Xenoscums around.
yup.
It just feels great.
Like as I was saying, Ethan Gotch, this guy right here, put this tweet out because he's suddenly wanting to investigate. He's suddenly wanting to look into things to clarify if it's a verifiable source. Keep in mind, if this was something commented attacking, and it was the other way around, it was a woke CEO calling out Osmond Gold or calling out right-wing grifting on anything, they wouldn't verify. They would just take it as fact, right? So the only reason why they're doing their due diligence is because it goes against the woke narrative. Let's establish that. So they said, I asked Saber for comment on if this is really Matt Karch's account or not, since it reads like anti-woke crusader slop, but I haven't heard back yet. The account was only created in May, and the bio reads generic male of sorts. So again, wokies, they hate men, so generic male of sorts, right? They
Also, a person who's a public figure, they will not use their private Reddit account to make themselves public. Only an idiot will do that.
hate white men. They all hate them. Whether you're a man yourself, if you're wokey, you're not allowed to like your own kind. And anti-woke crusader slop. They're all upset when somebody goes against the grain, guys. They hate it. And they cannot fathom this day and age that an actual CEO at a company would even hate DEI, would hate any of this. So, of course, it comes out. Grums exposes it, saying that they're leading a witch hunt into Saber Interactive, right, for daring to make a non-woke game that focuses on entertainment over message. And, they're getting eaten up. You can see John Delarose says we must protect Saber from these weirdos. Where those damn game guides? Saber Interactive needs to tell people to shove it. The correct response to Kotaku is always 3 words: go fuck yourself. So the game's doing great. The game is doing fantastic, and it's because they're not catering to a mob. Now, continuing on.
That's not even not caring to a mob. So what they did was they actually made a game for people who fucking play games. Not people who play keyboard warriors on Twitter. Not people who cosplay as people who actually play games. Not people who pretend to be journalists. But they made a game for people who actually play a game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference.
This is the account in question that they're saying is an alt account that could not be accurate, that's recently made. And then there's this one that they're saying is the actual real account. Did they ever stop to think that maybe he has 2 accounts? Maybe this could be an alt. Maybe there's a reason why he has a personal account and an account that he uses. Do you think they really would have went out of their way to fake an account and somebody commented? Maybe, possibly. And I could see a real journalist going into that kind of investigative reporting. But you're Kotaku. You're not a real journalist. You're not really going to be doing your due diligence. Again, the only reason why they're doing it is because the comment went against the grain. That's the only reason why they're doing it. Now, they did do an update saying that they got a response, and basically said Saber Interactive tells me it won't comment on whether a YouTube comment on Osmond Gold's channel complaining about games imposing morals on gamers belongs to its CEO or not. So they said no comment to them. And good. You don't have to answer shit for your opinion to any of these people. You don't have to verify anything. Fuck them. Let them wonder if you're real or not. It's really triggering them more that they don't know the truth or not. Now, Matthew Card.
No, the actual reason they're mad is because they're not getting the attention.
Yep.
Like, for some reason, Kotaku has this narration in their head that they are the grand speakers of the universe of which game should be played, which game shouldn't be played. And in their head canon, they think that all the studios need to bend over backwards to pander to them.
Arch posted this on his LinkedIn literally like within the last week. This was just the other day, 4 days ago. And you can see that they are basically echoing the same sentiments that this comment did, saying that they're proud about it, that they want this to be a game that is actually good, not a game that is catering to bullshit, right? Catering to what this modern era of gaming is about. So honestly, The creative director right here also did the same sentiments. He said, creator director of the game here. I wrote Space Marine 2 along with Craig Sherman, Randy Bergel, and Matthew Garcia Dunn. Hearing everything you have to say about the story and characters resonates so strongly with our actual approach. It's great to hear you calling out the exact things that we intentionally focused on. It was 4.5 years of intense work and passion, and watching videos like this makes it all worth it. And this is confirmed to be the real guy. So if the creative director is using the same sentiment, more than likely than not, this was actually the CEO. And again, Kotaku, you're bullshit. And Smash is calling it out in his article as well, saying, you know, he knows the only reason why they're doing it. He says literally right here, while on the surface, this would be credible journalism, knowing what we know, there's a definite desired outcome in mind. So his initial tweet is a prime example of how a seemingly straightforward inquiry could be weaponized to discredit someone. Notice the framing here. Gotch isn't just skeptical, he's openly antagonistic, dismissing Karch's comment on the video as anti-woke crusader slop. Who the fuck phrases that? This isn't journalism, it's a smear job dressed up as a query. Outside of dressing...
I feel like the wannabe journalists at Kotaku, they need to lose like their Twitter privileges, because not because they shouldn't be allowed to use the internet. I think it's to protect themselves by this point. They're just
Yeah.
humiliating themselves.
It's a freaking clown show at Kotaku, or just overall gaming journalism.
Like, someone needs to seriously block Twitter on their PCs and on their phones so they can stop humiliating themselves.
Yeah.
like the opposite sex, it's honestly what Kotaku does best. So yeah, basically that's what it is. It's all them just coping and seething. The fact that, you know, they're trying to use the lack of info. He says, Ethan feeling empowered by the lack of info, followed up with another tweet, basically saying, oh, my investigation here is leading me to nothing, so it has to be fake. They're down.
It's same as that quote-unquote investigator who was researching Warhammer for years, and at the end of it said there's absolutely no female representation in Warhammer. Same level of idiocracy happening here.
Downplaying the fact that a CEO this time and age would be opposite against DEI, right? And they didn't even mention, see right here, he mentions that they didn't even include the LinkedIn post where he's talking about his views and stuff on gaming. He says Kotaku's glaring omission of the LinkedIn post or deeper analysis either shows lack of due diligence or an intentional exclusion of evidence that doesn't fit their agenda. This could easily be an alternative account for Karch, given the near identical stance and tone between the YouTube comment and his professional statements, but instead of exploring this angle, Kotaku sticks to their preferred narrative, smearing anyone who dares challenge the status quo or questions the current industry's trends around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So yeah, again, it's all because Kotaku is butthurt at the end of the day.
Of course they are.
This journal...
They're always butthurt about anyone who even slightly disagrees or even sighs into their direction.
They're just punching air at this point.
Looking into it, doesn't give a shit. He really doesn't give a shit. Ethan Gotch is just butthurt. That Space Marine 2 as doing what games like Dustborn and Concord and Suicide Squad and even Star Wars Outlaws and soon-to-be Assassin's Creed Shadows couldn't do, and that's resonate with gamers. That's resonate with other CEOs that don't want this DEI slop. They want to talk about right-wing, anti-woke crusader slop. There's no worse slop than DEI slop. And these people are panicking right now because everything catered to this modern audience is failing. So I'm going to leave it there. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe if you're brand new. I will see you on the next video.
I appreciate that more and more people
Now,
are covering this topic.
For sure.